Hey, Instagram. Okay, I want to do this live because I'm finally back from the UK. I was in the UK, by the way, for last week, which is why I was a little slow to jump into this Candace internet firestorm. And just I guess to let you guys know what happened. By the way, obviously it's late. I'm in Eastern Standard Time right now, so you're getting Candace in a bathrobe. Okay. Okay, so first off, let me back this up for people that were not aware of this scandal between me and Alec Baldwin, because it's important for people to know where it came from. Okay, so obviously Alec Baldwin shot someone on set and killed someone by accident. He was firing something in his movie and he killed someone. Okay, and when I went onto Twitter, I saw everybody talking about this, and a lot of people were kind of like, oh well, he deserves it because of how nasty of a person Alec Baldwin has been, like in general, like eventually karma catches up with you kind of perspective. And so I tweeted kind of considering that point and being understanding, I guess, of that perspective for people that have felt just so disrespected. And so I guess that's been too weak of a word. I should say so dehumanized by Alec Baldwin. He's really a part of, that media personality that spent 4 years concentrated on dehumanizing Trump supporters. So I understood where that sentiment was coming from. And so I tweeted on the fly. I said, I'm going to try to actually get it verbatim. I said, Alec Baldwin killing someone and murdering. I said, Alec Baldwin murdering someone would be an example of poetic justice if it weren't for the fact that there actually was a real victim here. We should instead pray for the family, Tweeted that, and then somebody said to me, Candace, actually, it's not murder. You can't say he's a murderer because it wasn't done with intent. You should say killing. And so I deleted the tweet, and I wrote, deleting that last tweet because Alec Baldwin did not murder someone. He killed them. And then I left it. And then I came back to find a real headline on the Daily Mail, which said, Candace Owens says, Alec Baldwin killing someone is poetic justice. Just completely, that was the headline, completely left off the other part of my tweet, completely took my entire tweet out of context, and then proceeded to say, Candace Owens deleted the tweet because she was getting so much flack for it. I mean, I deleted this tweet almost immediately after I realized I used the wrong word, not because I was getting any flack for it. I was in the UK, was not even like on my phone, was at an event. And I was so angry because, it's the exact opposite of what I said. For people that have taken, this is a basic English, right? You either understand English or you don't, right? So if you've taken any logic and reasoning class, you understand statements that are inverse, converse, contrapositive. Like, I will wear a jacket if it's snowing. If it's not snowing, I will not wear a jacket. The fact that I said this would be poetic justice if it weren't for the fact that a real person got hurt, therefore we should pray for the victim, makes it very clear that what I'm saying actually is this is not poetic justice because a victim got hurt. That's the literal translation of what I said. This is not poetic justice because an individual got hurt and we should instead pray for the family. But the media doesn't care. And so unbeknownst to me, this headline went like baby viral, and I went online and I was tagged. Alec Baldwin, who is his daughter, tagged me in a post that was just like, you're the most hateful, vitriolic person I've ever heard of. Like, just a super like stab me kind of post about, and it had a picture which was sourced, from a Daily Mail's headline. And I'm not gonna lie, I saw this and I was just like, first and foremost, you have some nerve, like was my first perspective. Like, you have some nerve as the daughter of Alec Baldwin to call any person in this entire world vitriolic, in my opinion, and in a lot of people's opinion. Like, I have never seen an actor, as maybe Jim Carrey would be a close second, who has been so disgusting and so vitriolic, actually gets paid to do it, which is even more incredible. For 4 years, he was just paid to be a vitriolic person. And I'm not talking about just on Saturday Night Live. I'm talking about in his interviews. I'm talking about, him saying that Trump should be buried in a Nazi cemetery and his supporters are this and supporters are that. I'm talking about someone who made a concerted effort to dehumanize people for 4 years. And I cannot comprehend any individual with the last name Baldwin ever calling anybody else vitriolic. That just has to be a word that is dropped from their vocabulary altogether. Just crush it, okay? So I'm sitting here and I'm reading this and I'm like, first off, like, don't tweet at me. Don't tweet at me. Don't Instagram me. Don't tag me. Like, I'm really not the one, especially with these Hollywood types, if you haven't figured it out. Like, I just do not, this is not a sorority I am pledging. I do not care about the Hollywood types. They are not cool to me. I don't find them to be smart. I don't find them to be funny. Like, this is just, no, don't do it. People have made this mistake before. So I see this and I like to see red because of the word vitriolic. And I like responded to the tag and I was just like essentially, I'm paraphrasing here, but I'm saying to her, like, have you lost your mind? Like, do you know who your father is? Like, do you know who your dad is? Like, is he not your dad maybe? Like, is there a paternity suit that needs to happen? Like, is he not your father? Because if he's not your dad, then this would make sense. And then I said to her, and can you read? Like, can you comprehend the English language? I literally said the exact opposite of this, right? I phrased it in a way that could be, tricky if you haven't gotten past, maybe I learned inverse, converse, contrapositive stuff when I was in 8th grade. Like, maybe if you haven't gotten past 8th grade, you could read this and say, Candace said this, but this is not what my tweet objectively said. And I said, you're pulling from a Daily Mail headline. Did you read the actual article? Because they obviously at the bottom of the article put the full tweet and also said, like, and she pray for the victims. But most people don't read. Most people, A, don't read beyond a headline, and B, don't know how to read, right? So it was almost like the tweet was too advanced. I needed to say, this is not, this is not because this, rather than saying this would almost be if, but this. It was too tricky. The composition of the sentence was too tricky. And so now I have her in my, tagging me in something that is the exact opposite of what I said. And I'm just like seeing red. And she comes back at me really quickly and she's just like, how could you say this? Like, there's a 9-year-old boy who's is going to grow up without a mother. This is a terrible accident, like all of this stuff. And I just don't understand how you could say this stuff and blah, 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 blah. And she's like kind of taking stabs at me and I'm taking stabs at her. And I'm just like, honestly shocked, by her perspective, which she shared, that had this have happened the other way around and Trump had done this, like, she would have some sympathy. And I genuinely struggle to believe that part. Like, maybe behind closed doors, she maybe would have had some sympathy. I don't know. But I genuinely struggle to believe that the humanity that is being demanded of Trump supporters right now, people that were dehumanized, right? Alec Baldwin being one of the leaders of the pack, dehumanized, put into the context of Nazis, Nazi supporters, right? People that should be buried in Nazi cemeteries should now dig inside themselves and find humanity to feel bad for Alec Baldwin. Like, it just doesn't work like that, right? It is entirely possible to feel bad for the victims of this, right? Being the child that is going to grow up without a mother, being the woman who lost her life, and also not feel bad for Alec Baldwin. You don't have to feel bad for Alec Baldwin to acknowledge that this is a tragedy, and that somebody's family, an innocent life was taken by this, and an innocent life is going to be impacted by this. Like, this is not don't allow the media to create a false dichotomy that either you need to feel bad for Alec Baldwin, or you're a horrible person. I don't feel bad for Alec Baldwin. I do feel bad for the victim's family. And the reason I don't feel bad for Alec Baldwin is because I'm not going to be required to feel bad for a person that made living so difficult for people, who just voted their values, meaning, Did Alec Baldwin feel bad when he was painting Trump supporters as Nazis? Did he feel bad for the moms who voted for him because their sons and daughters and husbands were killed by illegal aliens when he presented building the wall perspective as a Nazi perspective? Did he ever look at those people as human beings? Did Alec Baldwin ever feel bad when he gave people the permission to attack these people, to smear these people, to libel these people, to accost these people as they were sitting down at restaurants because